You're listening to the Lone Star Gridiron Sports Network.
The Calallen Wildcats weekly press conference is brought to you by the Calallen Touchdown Booster Club. The Touchdown Booster Club exists to support and promote the Calallen High School football program by uniting students, parents, coaches, and the community.
All right, everybody join me in welcoming Coach Charlie Reeve from the Calallen Wildcats to the show. Coach, how are things today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. And I tell you, I have to hear your perspective on the El Campo game because, you know, it looked a little more lopsided than it was. It was pretty a close game, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a hard-fought game. Two good teams going at it, and it was a great game, and it was a tough, first-round game, and really proud of our kids, proud of our coaching staff, and we're fortunate to still be alive.
Yeah, you take out that third quarter, and it's a tie game. The rest, the other three. So, what happened in the third quarter? Was that a halftime adjustment, or did something just break? Well,
one of the goals that we always have is to score the opening drive of each half, and they started out with the ball at the beginning of the game, and they took it down, drove it down, and scored, and we needed to answer, and so we took it on a long drive and ended up punching in, make it 7-7, and I think we went into halftime 14-7, and then, we talked about at halftime, obviously, that, we're getting the ball, and that first drive of the second half was going to be really important, and was able to take it down and score, and that really kind of set the tone for the second half. And, again, I thought our kids, I thought up front on both sides really played well. I thought our running backs really ran hard. Our quarterback really played well and made some big plays in the quarterback run game. And Jude Hernandez and Carlos Rosales, our two running backs, really made some great runs. And, but really, our front five, the offensive line, our tight ends and fullbacks, really did a great job. And just kind of setting the tone, up front. And, we've talked about it all year is, our offensive line is our weapon. And that was the case again, last Friday night.
Definitely. And sometimes, when I look at the stats after the fact, because I don't keep stats during the game, I wonder if they made a mistake. So tell me if these are correct stats. I see you had Calallen had 60 plays, El Campo only 35.
I'm not sure how many they had. One of the things that we try to do is complementary football, and they've got a lot of weapons on offense, and sometimes their best defense is keeping their offense off the field and controlling the clock and controlling the ball, and we were able to establish some long drives and take some time off the clock and keep them off the field. So that's always kind of who we are, and we don't stats are great, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure we got one more point than our opponent, and so I don't know how many plays that they had, but I know that that we control the clock pretty well.
Nice. And talk about the role Sebastian Dennis had. He had a great game.
Yeah, he did. He really did, and he carried the load, more than obviously he's been a big part of what we do on offense all year, but he really carried more of a load, this last game. Defensively, they do a really good job of, they've always, got one more hat in the run game than what you can block, and so for us, the quarterback run game was going to be a big part of that because you can add another blocker, and obviously he made some great runs and some tough runs, and he carried, more of a load than what he normally does. But yeah, I thought he had a fantastic game and really set the tone for us on offense.
Nice. And then defensively, it looked like your defense did a great job of containing the run.
We did. And that's always, the number one goal on defense is stop the run. And, like I said, I mean, they do a good job in the run game and give you a lot of different looks and a lot of different formations. And you really got to do a good job of making sure that, number one, we're aligned right, and that our eyes are where they need to be. But I thought our front seven played really well and was able to, outside that first drive, really, kind of contain their run game. So, really pleased with our defense.
Nice. And talk about how special it was to have so many generations of Reeve coaches, family, kids, wives, you name it.
Sure.
It was amazing.
Yeah, no, it was, it's a special game, and it'll probably be one that, we can, we'll talk about for a while. And, it was special just because obviously, I mean, there's, your brother's on the other side, but too, I mean, we talked about it in the show last week. I mean, I've got my son playing, and then, his son Colt, ended up starting at quarterback for them. And so that added another dynamic to it. And then obviously you had a lot of family there. And so, it was a neat experience. I'm glad that week's over as far as, obviously they're really good. But it was a unique experience for sure.
Definitely. And how about health-wise? How did the kids come out of it?
I think we came out well. It was a physical game. And, I think, you always got some bangs and bruises, but for the most part, I think we came out well. And we're going to need them all, for to be able to keep rolling.
Definitely. Well, let's talk about Somerset. They're also sitting at 9-2. They score about a half a point more, but they give up 10 points more. So do you see some opportunity there?
They're a really good team. Well coached. They've got good players. They're big up front. Offensively, they're really balanced. And they schematically, they do a lot of good stuff. Their quarterback is a really good player and he does a lot for him. I mean, I think he's a really good passer. He does a lot of stuff with his legs and is able to extend plays. And so we've got to contain him, but also, we've got to stay on coverage in the back end because once he does break the pocket, he creates plays. So I think they're really good on offense defensively. They give you a lot of different looks. They apply a lot of pressure in a lot of different ways. And so it's going to it'll be a great challenge for us for sure.
Definitely. And when you're talking to the kids, how do you get across to them that your easy games are behind you for the season because every week they're getting better and better, the opponent?
Sure. I think, and it's not something that you have to remind them. I think they know, but it's something we talk about every day. I mean, we talked about it on Saturday when we came up and watched film and lifted and did our normal, day after the game workout is, nothing is guaranteed from this point on. And, we're blessed to be able to continue to practice, to continue to play. And, if you want to continue to play, you've got to pay a price, and, kind of use the adage of, the rent is due, and last week was last week. And, what we do between now and Friday is going to determine the outcome, of the game. And we've got to prepare to go and play our best game. But yeah, I mean, anybody that you play at this point, is going to be really good. And you got to bring your A game. And if not, there's a good chance you'll be going home.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you like the fact that, your game this week is so close right there at Gregory Portland?
Yeah. It was, there wasn't a whole lot, as far as in between, us and Somerset and the few places that were already booked up or they weren't hosting. So, we ended up flipping for kind of home neutral, and I was lucky to win the flip. And so, but yeah, I mean, any time that you can play close to home and your fans can, it's not a far drive for them, I think is always a good thing.
Definitely. Well, again, Coach, congratulations on the by-district gold ball, and best of luck this week against Somerset.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Are you ready to take your game to the next level? Whether you're an athlete, coach, or just someone striving for more success in life, the Winner's Workshop is your secret weapon. Yes, this award-winning course has transformed thousands of lives, teaching the game-changing principles of sports psychology that Fortune 500 companies, coaches, and top performers all use to win. The Winner's Workshop, subtitled How Sports Psychology Can Make You a Champion, is now available on CoachTube for a fraction of the original $499 price. The Winner's Workshop will help you master focus, mindset, and breakthroughs to make you a champion. Click on the link in the show notes or head over to LoneStarGridiron.com and click on the ad today to unlock your full potential.